Good morning
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
and welcome to Sunday SoulDay, weekly fuel for your mind, body, and soul. Today we have a special guest, Claudia Conti, who is a certified confidence and empowerment coach who I actually met at the Jay Shetty Coaching Certification School. Welcome to Sunday SoulDay, Claudia.
Hi, Damisha. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you. Hi, Ali.
Hi.
We are equally excited and can't wait to dive into your background a little bit. I thought we'd use this hour to learn a little bit more about you and your coaching, as well as who you serve and a couple of other nuggets that I know that you'll be dropping today. So wanted to just start really quickly because what actually, Claudia and I had some overlap in the Jay Shetty Coaching Certification School, but I also came across her social media and was really drawn to a lot of her content. She has a lot of great videos. If you guys aren't following her, definitely follow her. I'm sure it'll resonate with you as well, but really wonderful content. And she also does it in English and Spanish. And so I was just excited to talk with her and end up DMing her. And we did a little small project together on our motivational Mondays. And we did that on Instagram Live. And now we're here on Sunday SoulDay. So just really thrilled that you're on here and blessing the show. But wanted to start with you speaking Spanish and English, where did you grow up?
Thank you for that introduction. I was very excited to connect with you, and I'm excited, like I said, to be here. I was born in Uruguay. That's in South America. I'm from an Italian family, and I was back and forth. My life has been a couple of international moves here and there, but overall, I grew up there. I studied there, and then I lived here when I was 8 years old, in the US, and that's where I became bilingual. And then I went back and I always continued studying English because I went to a bilingual school back home. So both languages have been part of my life, my entire life. And I lived here, there, here, and now I'm here. I'm back here. So happy to be back.
Yeah. And where do you reside right now?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Oh,
so still feeling the heat, but yeah, it will cool down soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in Arizona and it is still over 100 degrees. So hence this big old hat I have on. I took a walk right before our interview. So yeah, it is very hot here.
Hi, Claudia. I wanted to ask you, before we dive into your coaching journey, can you tell us a bit more about your life before becoming a certified empowerment coach? You worked in marketing for 15 years?
Yes. I got my degree in marketing, and I had the opportunity to work in different roles in different industries. And then I met my husband, and we moved to the US, where I had the opportunity to continue moving forward in my career. We had several, like I said, international moves, so it's been quite the journey. And we had a business together at some point, and now I'm here. So it's definitely a journey with some stories and in between experiences, challenges, everything that you can think of. But I'm here where I'm at right now. I'm very excited and happy. And after doing a lot of internal work, I can say that I'm finally connecting the dots. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Finding our thing, right? Absolutely. Yeah.
And so Claudia, you, after kind of spending time for 15 years in marketing, quite some time, you had quite a bit of a journey transitioning into coaching. I would love to understand what that transition looked like before we kind of dive into what inspired you to become a certified confidence and empowerment coach.
Sure. I'm going to try and keep it short because it can get a little too boring for you guys, but it was actually a long process for me. It was gradual because I really took the time to go deep within, and then put in all the work that was necessary to understand what I was really going to do next in my life, as a next step in life. So without getting too boring with you all, in 2019, it was a time when my husband got an opportunity of working here in the US. So we spent some time apart, trying to figure out if we were about to do the next international move, but this time with 2 daughters. So we were trying to understand the whole process. So then COVID hit, and that's when I was doing my whole international move, preparing everything. And we got stranded with my girls 3 days before taking our flight to the US to move. So we ended up spending several months in my parents' house, until we were able to finally take our plane flight at the end of June of 2020. So that was definitely a time in my life where I was, I have to say, it was an uncertain time in my life. I guess it was uncertain for all of us, but for me, it took a turn when I had just got rid of everything and I was ready to start a new life somewhere else, and I was stopped there. So at the beginning, I thought I was doing great. To be honest, overall, I felt like, okay, I'm quite there. I'm keeping it together. But then when I got here, sometime afterward, I really got sick. And looking back on time, I am grateful. I am grateful that happened, and I am grateful that I really did not get a serious illness, but it was one that was really debilitating at the time. So all I could do was really go within, because I couldn't read. I spent a lot of time in bed, so I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't scroll the phone for a long period of time. So really, it was about something telling me, okay, it is time to stop your autopilot. It's a time to just stay still and try to heal. And I actually had come across Jay Shetty. Shout out to Jay and his mindfulness and meditation practices. So I really lean into that practice, if that makes sense, because that was something that really helped me to cope during that time. And I was really doing long meditations to like ground myself and feel better, to be honest, because it was a very challenging time for me. A lot of anxiety with not having the quality of life that I wanted. And I would say some depression too, because when your life all of a sudden you're stop, you get a full stop in what you're doing, you have young kids, it takes a different level of like wanting to get out from that scenario. So I guess that's something that I used in that practice to be able to handle this. And of course, I got all the necessary help that I needed, and I started healing, and that's where my healing journey started. And I got the help. I did my inner work, I'm sorry. And then I came across some of Jay's courses, and I took some of them, and I started feeling better. It was like a progression. And finally, I decided, you know what, this came for a reason in my life. I'm going to really take it all in, and I'm going to find out what is it that I'm meant to do, meant to be, my purpose in life, and just go for it. And it wasn't something that I decided, okay, I'm going to go into the coaching business just because it's out there. No, I really took time. I did the research. I even did experiential learning because I loved it from a book, which is basically understanding how you feel in the process of doing something. So I grabbed a friend, I did it, and I felt great. And I thought, you know what, after all, this is something that I really enjoy. And of course, that's all news, because then I enroll in the Jay Shetty Certification School, and it has been like the best thing I have done in my whole life, because it truly allowed me to not only live my purpose, but get all the skills and the knowledge that you need to start. Obviously, this is a lifelong journey of learning and getting better at, but I'm excited and I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm still in the process of healing because it's a long process, but I'm in such a better place right now.
Yeah, and it's such a lifelong journey. So first of all, thank you so much for sharing, and your vulnerability is so beautiful. And I could not imagine, having small children like you do. You have two children, and not being well enough to, live a full life, take care of them, and, be working on healing yourself. So just kudos to you for going inward, because that's really the most important thing, is to, as you're healing outer, but also working on the inner. And it sounds like you did a lot of the work, and so happy that you found Jay, because then that means that we found each other. So very happy about that. And yeah, like I would love to just dive into your coaching a little bit, because, that is one of the challenges that I find in some of the coaches that join the school, is what niche should they go into? And some kind of change their direction a couple of times before they finally figure out, like, okay, this is where I want to be. How did you kind of figure out your niche, and tell me a little bit more about who you serve?
Yes, and I'm excited that we crossed paths, because it was meant to be, obviously. And currently, I'm focusing on empowerment and confidence coaching for entrepreneurial and professional women, to help them achieve that full potential that they have. And the reason I say currently is because it organically happened for me. I started my practice hours of coaching, and then I got my first clients, and then I moved along the process. And sometimes they say that the niche picks you, and it was kind of like what happened. I know that it's a flow, obviously, in life, so it's not something that is set forever. But my focus right now is working on empowering and facilitating that process for women. I could say that my approach, I'm very passionate about creating a safe space, free of judgment, above all, with respect and empathy, because I think that that's where the beginning of every coaching relationship is. Of course, as you know, I use the Grow and Clear models and the ABC framework that we worked on, and we went through in our certification, which has 9 steps, which it's a great framework to work with. And I personally have the influence of positive psychology, cognitive and behavioral psychology, and mindfulness. Those are the ones that underpin my approach. Again, I personally look to co-create this holistic approach and try and work on that transformation with that particular client, one client at a time. I think it's important to understand that not everybody works on the same way. Not everybody resonates with the same thing. So it's taking that client and building that approach with them. It's co-created. So I guess that is what sums up my approach and my focus these days. And I guess my success factor always comes back to my empathy, my presence, my value, the energy that I bring to my sessions. And I also challenge my clients so they can grow and they can move forward to what they want to achieve. Yeah. Their dreams, their goals. That's what we're there for.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you niche down and focus on professional and entrepreneurial women. Your mission is to empower, inspire, and serve them. What do you believe are some of the key elements that your coaching program kind of contributes to this mission? Like, what are some of the things that people can expect if they come with you?
Sure. And like I said, I create this safe space and free of judgment. I think that's important. And to be honest, I trust the process, and I truly believe in the incredible power of coaching. Mm-hmm. So that is something that always contributes to keep working on helping people transform their lives. And with the skills that we developed and all the frameworks and all the learnings that we have earned it through the certification. And after that, I feel that that is what really contributes to achieving my mission. It's that overall, like combination of my own approach, my personality, my energy, my purpose, with the tools that I learn and with that client that I'm working with. It's like a whole process that we create together.
Yeah.
A beautiful one.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing. And absolutely.
Claudia, I want to go back a second and just thank you for sharing your personal experience with your health. I can relate so much to that. I know a lot of our viewers can. About a year and a half ago, I felt like I mentally and physically broke. And here I am taking care of a toddler and teenagers and just feeling like I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't do anything but stare at a wall. I was struggling with eating and sleeping. I had depression. I had anxiety, all these things I had not ever dealt with before in my life or to that extent. And just for me to hear that someone else went through that and then is on the other side, living their purpose. I feel like I can relate to it and it inspires me so much. And I know it'll inspire so many other viewers, just that raw truth and showing us the pain that we experience and how it motivates us to change and to start living our purpose, or to fine tune things so we can live our purpose that much more. So thank you for that.
Thank you for acknowledging, Ali. It is a process, and I feel like I'm still in the process, and it's not easy, and it's not it's not easy, and it takes time, and you need to be compassionate with yourself because it doesn't happen overnight. And we can have a whole episode on that in particular, because it in the moment when you're in survival mode, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But you have to stick, you have to do the work. You have to take each day by day and continue working on yourself and trying to figure out how to get better. So, yeah.
So, Claudia, could you share an example of a time when challenging a client to grow led to a significant breakthrough or transformation in their personal or professional life?
Sure. Actually, I think with all of them, it happens. I think challenging is part of the process of coaching. And I think, like I said, it's not challenging the person. It's part of a process, and it's needed in order to move forward for them, to help them move forward in their process to achieve their goals. It allows to keep momentum and to help them move forward. So the challenge is done with the ultimate compassion and empathy as a coach. And the reality is that you're calling it out, or the thing out. You're not calling the person out. So it's done through a different approach, but it's needed because it's an opportunity for them to do the balanced reflection and keep growing in their journey and keep moving forward. And with that being said, I can tell you that I've worked with so many clients, and they have gained clarity, organizational skills. They have worked on the limiting beliefs. They have increased motivation, self-love, confidence. They work on their purpose. So, and the list goes on. I mean, we work on their autonomy, their courage, taking back, owning their lives, and taking back that power that we all have in order to achieve what we want in this life. So for me, the challenge is just a process, a part of the process. It's necessary for the person to evolve and keep moving along and in their own growth. Because like we always say, coaching is a partnership. There's no hierarchy. There's no above or beyond, or, in the process, we are with the client moving along where they're at, meeting them where they're at and what they need. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And that must be so rewarding for you to witness these transformations. So you offer coaching in both English and in Spanish. Can you tell us more about the importance of language accessibility in coaching, especially when it comes to reaching a diverse audience?
Sure, I do, because I think coaching is about creating a safe, comfortable space for the person you're working with. And that looks different for every person. So for me, having the opportunity of doing it in both languages opens up a bigger range to help the person in the best way possible. Because some people speak both languages, but feel more comfortable talking about their feelings or emotions or diving deep in topics in one of them. So for me, it is a great tool in order to reach a more diverse or a wider audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I used to work for an agency where there were both Spanish and English speaking patients and clients, and I just was so grateful for the translator. However, I had wished that I was more fluent in both languages so that I could reach and connect maybe the parents of clients, and just help create that comfort for the people that I served. And so I just think that that's incredible that you can reach a wider range of people and also create comfort for individuals. How do you juggle being a mom of two, and what advice do you have for new entrepreneurs who are parents?
That's a great question. I would say that the things that come to the top of my head are self-care always, schedule everything, and pause to recharge. I would say those are the main. For me, mindfulness and meditations are have a very important role in my life. I practice them daily. And like I said earlier, to be compassionate with yourself as you would be with others. You have to be gentle. It's not easy to juggle both. It's not easy to be a mom. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur or a dad and be an entrepreneur. I mean, it takes a lot. And you will probably make mistakes along the way. You will fail. You will have challenges. Things will come your way. You just have to, like be compassionate just as you would do with your best friend, with your sister, your mom, or whoever you love. And lastly, I would say also find the help that you need, because sometimes we feel like we can do everything on our own, and that's my old self talking to me. And
Yes.
I can tell you that sometimes there's a time for everything. Maybe you need to find that good coach that will be with you alongside to try and help you going through that process in a better way, with somebody there by your side along that process, or therapist or counseling, or whatever need that you have, or a family member or a friend. But just think that sometimes you need that help. You don't have to do it all on your own. So that would be something that I also would highly recommend to, like audit yourself. Where do you stand? What are your needs? Can you do it? Can you find some help out there? Go for it. No need to do it on your own.
That's great. And what stood out to me was the pausing to recharge and then asking others for help. Demisha had just sent me a video yesterday of a mom who had returned from a doctor's appointment and saying she was fatigued, and she felt like she was overwhelmed and was, unable to, and was failing everywhere. And the doctor said, you're not made to do everything on your own. And maybe you're doing too much, not too little. And so I just think us putting things in perspective, taking time to recharge, asking other people for help, and then, like you said, auditing ourselves and seeing where we can adjust, and also adjusting our expectations of ourselves. We can't be everything for everyone. We have to put ourselves first and then go from there. So thank you.
Yes. And I would like to add, something that also I wanted to share is the fact that being an entrepreneur is a very lonely journey. So if you can surround yourself by people that are doing the same and that are uplifting and that support you, that is crucial, because it takes everything to a different level. I think community is very important in this sense. So I wanted to add that before we continue, because it's important to be with the people that you can, that uplift you and take you to that next level, and surround yourself as much as possible.
Yeah. I could not agree more about the community. I'll say two things and kind of go on to the next question, but so many great things that you said resonated with me. The community is so huge. I always say if you want to go far, you can go alone, but if you want to go further, faster, and have a lot of fun, grab a community. And so I love that you mentioned the community, because I've noticed, and Allie as well, like, you know, in our professions, it is lonely, you know, you're building from scratch, but surrounding yourself with people, this is like a community to us. Having this podcast, it's been incredible, you know, just the people we've gotten to meet and talk to and hear their stories and learn from them, learning from you. It's been so beautiful for us as we're building our community. And then the other thing you said around you know, self-caring is so big, and I think a lot of times mothers especially, and not to take anything away from men because they are also in the same boat, but I think mothers especially, we are not made to do everything, and for some reason, like, we have given like put ourselves in this role that we're supposed to do it all, and you can't do everything at once. And so with my clients, I use the term superhuman and human. And when they have those moments where they just like need help or support, or they have a bad day, or like Ali was describing the video I sent to her, that woman was having a human day. It is human for us to feel overwhelmed. It is human for us to, you know, not feel like we're doing anything right, because we're generally operating on a superhuman level, doing so many things at once, you know. And so I just say, like, one word that I use with myself, with clients, is just giving yourself grace. It is so important to give yourself grace. So just love a lot of the takeaways that you said. You mentioned self-caring, and one of the questions that we ask all of our guests is, like, what are some practices and routines that you use to kind of energize your soul? And do you have a routine that fuels your soul? Like, do you do anything on even like a Sunday?
I do. I actually do. I have a bunch of them. So I'm going to share some of the ones I follow. Obviously, meditation and mindfulness, I cannot stress enough the importance. I do walks or spend time in nature. That is, another one that is crucial because it's grounding and it allows you to unwind also. I have a gratitude practice daily and a gratitude jar with my girls, and that is something that I don't compromise on. I do journaling, I do coaching or therapy depending on the needs I have. I have my midday meditation that we talked about before, because when I transition from entrepreneur to mom, I need that 15 minutes or whatever I have that day to just recenter, ground myself, find my balance, and like redirect my energy. So I need that. Of course, reading and learning and setting intentions the night before, right before I go to bed, like an alarm clock, setting the intentions for the following day, because that's what your mind will go to sleep with. So it's, if you want to have a productive, a balanced day, you can reprogram yourself before you go to bed. And going to bed at the same time every day, I try my best. It's not easy. You all know that that's a challenging one. And now that I'm about to wrap my positive intelligence training, I'm incorporating more mindfulness exercise throughout the day, which I found that that's a game changer. And you mentioned Sundays, and Sundays for me are about family. I like I said, I come from Italian descent, and back home, Sundays were about gathering the family all together, having a homemade meal, usually cooked by my mom, and just catching up and enjoying time together. And that is, for me, that would be my best Sunday. And I like to keep routines and traditions with my kids as well. And I have been part of Jay's community for a while, and he does Sundays workshops that really, I take it as my self-care. I do that because it prepares for the week ahead, and it puts me in a good place mentally and spiritually, and also with your heart, you know, kind of aligning all of it before the busy week begins. So that would be my Sunday.
I love it. No, and you have so many great, I love the gratitude jar with the children. I'm going to steal that because I, like you, practice gratitude in the morning and at night. And some of the same things that you and I already talked about, like the transitioning from working all day and being an entrepreneur and dealing with all the things that we deal with to then transitioning into being a mom. I call it like wearing different hats. Like I'm like, okay, I'm about to put on my other hat, but I give myself time in between, you know, those hats to really be able to focus. So love that you do that as well. And the mindfulness and the meditation practices are so key to just centering yourself and really understanding like who you are. And like, you know, Ali does so many amazing things like with body scanning and all these great things. And so love that you're, you know, doing all of those things. So thank you so much for sharing. And you also mentioned reading, which is something I love to do. Wish I had a lot more time to do it, but definitely try and at least read a book a month. What are some of the books that kind of inspired you, you know, during your journey? Like, you know, anything that you want to share with the viewers?
Oh, this is a wonderful one because I could go on. And like you, I try to find and carve time to read, usually at night, a couple of pages even. It makes a difference and it puts you in a good place to go to rest. Some of the books I can share, of course, Think Like a Monk was a great one by Jay. The Four Agreements, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. I read the Bhagavad Gita and I loved it. The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success from Chopra, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, The Prosperous Coach by Rich Litvin, Ask and It's Given by Esther Hicks, and the list goes on, but I'm going to end up there because all of them have given me different things and different takeaways. And I find that as coaches, reading and opening our broad, you know, like having a more open mind and working on self-development is very important because we can come better equipped to serve our clients. So I believe that just working on what you need at the time, book or help-wise, is always important. And I hope you check some of them if you haven't read them. I'm sure you probably read all of them already.
But some of our viewers have not, so that's okay. Like, and I love every book that you named, and I'm a huge fan of Thich Nhat Hanh. I always jack his name up, but at the end of the day, I love his work. He is just phenomenal. And you also mentioned, Ali and I are both huge fans of Brené Brown and some of the others you mentioned. One of my favorite books of all times, and I swear I should get some type of you know, referral fee for referring this book out, but I have literally given and purchased the book probably like 30 times to The Four Agreements. It's one of my favorite books of all times. I read it actually annually as a reminder to myself because I love it that much. So thank you so much for sharing awesome books.
Wow, what a great collection of books that you're suggesting. I also love The Four Agreements, and that was one that is so dear to my heart that I was reading when I was having a really hard time. I stayed up a whole night and read the entire book and had read it prior, but it just hit me in such a different way this time that I knew I was going to be okay. I want to go back really quick before I ask my final question. With the gratitude jar, because I have a 4-year-old and I really want to work with her and model self-care. So with the gratitude jar, can you explain just really quickly, do you go and open the jar and read the gratitude later, or is it something you kind of put in and it goes out into the universe?
My practice, I've been doing it, this is my 3rd year.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do every Friday, or, you know, like every one time a week, I would think of something that I was grateful for, and I would add a little note inside the jar. But now I do it every time I think of something major or something small or something that just moved me. I just go write it down. It doesn't have to be every Friday. It's whenever I want to really have a moment to write it down and put it in the jar. I engaged my girls in asking them if they have something, allowing them to do their own notes, and we all put it in the same jar. They have decorated with stickers and all kinds of stuff this year one, so it will be amazing. And what I do is at the end of the year, on New Year's Eve, I sit down and take my time and I open that jar and I review it. And it's, I don't know, I can't stress enough the power of gratitude. I mean, you sit down there and you just go over again everything that you've gone through the entire year. And there's so many things. And even it could be a hot shower when you're exhausted and you relive that moment and you're like thankful for that moment and that precise time. And you just go on to your new year full of gratitude. So for me, that's what I would suggest, but you can adjust it to whatever works for your,
Yeah.
you know, your
Yeah.
lifestyle or.
Yeah. And I think you explaining the details of it helps paint a picture. And then you're right, people can adjust it in a way that works for them. But having a tool, I call it a toolkit, like a recovery toolkit of different things that you can do and being able to see how you can make that thing happen. So just you explaining, hey, they decorate this jar. And then, you know, New Year's, we take a look at what we're grateful for. And we do it on specific days or we do it whenever we want. I think that just helps inspire people to take part in their recovery toolkit and then do it in a way that works for them. So I have one last question for you. What do you envision for the future of your coaching practice? And how do you plan to continue making a positive impact in the lives of your clients and beyond?
I love that question. Thank you. I actually envision living my purpose. I envision growing by implementing new things all the time and always keeping service at the core of everything I do. I love speaking. I love connecting. I love sharing. I love coaching. I love doing what I do, and helping others achieve their dreams and their goals is, for me, the ultimate fulfillment. So I cannot wait to continue doing whatever comes my way, and like I said, keeping the service at the core of what I do. But thank you for asking that question, because I really look forward to implementing new things as we go, because that's the way we grow.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always learning. We're always growing, right, Demisha? Like you said, we're always students and teachers. Thank you so much let me start over. Thank you so much, Claudia, for taking the time to meet with us today and to explain all the techniques that have worked for you and that work with your clients. Thank you.
Yeah, this has been so wonderful, and I really appreciate a lot of the gems that you shared today. You have given just additional nuggets and say little tools to put on our tool belts today that I'm really excited to implement. And I know a lot of our viewers, just between the books that you shared and some of the things that you do with your clients in your own personal life, really grateful that you blessed the show today, and can't wait to watch you as you continue to grow your business. Please follow her on social media. You will thank me later. But again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
So much, ladies, for having me today. It was a complete pleasure, honor, and I'm so grateful that I got this chance to meet with you and share a little bit of myself and what we do here. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Mwah.
Before we hop off, I do have a little question to ask the viewers. Claudia mentioned gratitude, and that is a large practice in my life and Ali's life. What are you grateful for? Put it in the comments below. And everyone have a wonderful Sunday.